I told you at the outset this morning, hopefully we would have some laughs, maybe a few tears, and a lot of memories this morning as we honor the life of Paul Gallo, the namesake of this radio show, the Gallo Radio Show on SuperTalk, Mississippi, a show that began in 1990 and grew to what it is today. And it has been an honor to have conversations. We've got many more of those coming up before we wrap things up. Former Governors Phil Bryant and Haley Barbour will be with us in the 8 o'clock hour, and Perez will join us in studio as well. But right now, we get to visit with a man who developed a relationship with Paul Gallo. Paul developed a relationship with Drake Bassett, president and CEO of Palmer Home for Children. We, SuperTalk Mississippi, have developed a great relationship with Palmer Home, and Drake, I don't know that that anybody was more touched by what was happening at Palmer Home and more committed to the mission of Palmer Home than Paul Gallo was.
I would have to agree with you, Richard. I had the opportunity to. It's great to see you, by the way, and I appreciate what you all are doing this morning. I really think this is special. I remember. The first couple of years we did, our radiothon, and, it was fun to watch Paul around these little kids because, at first, he's trying to do his show and he's trying to get things going. And it feels a little bit like being at home when you got, your Rugrats running around and there's kids and there's noise and everything. And then he kind of settled into it. And after the first, couple of hours, he really got to thinking about what we were doing. And you could just sort of see, not only in that those first couple of shows that he did with Radiothon, but over the years, you would just sort of see him just kind of soften to the whole thing. And it was really great because as each year went by, he would become more and more excited, about Radiothon. And I remember once when we were still down at our campus in Columbus, it was a hot day. I think we had a slip and slide or something for the kids, and we were throwing water balloons, and all these kids were running around, and we're standing out there, and he finished his part, so he was just kind of chilling out with the kids, and he looked over at me, and I'll never forget. He said, "You've got something really good going on here," and that was his way of saying, I see that you are participating in something that is not only historical to Mississippi, but he could see these children right in front of him. He could see their lives being changed. He saw their happiness. He saw their joy. And Paul just soaked that in, he just, and so it seemed like from those early days on, when I think of Paul, we think of him as a bit of an anchor, not just an anchor on the radio, but I think for a lot of people, they start their day with Paul. It's just sort of a fixture in our culture here in Mississippi and beyond a little bit. I think you cross over, you can still hear it in Tennessee, and people around the edges just start their day with Paul. Well, For me, it was a voice of comfort, but it meant that I had seen Paul's commitment to not only to the children of Palmer Home, but to things that were important. And so, again, when I think of Paul, I think of, for me, the word is fidelity. And I know that's a bit of a strange word, but when push comes to shove, whether it's on critical political issues, moral issues, but particularly issues that have to do with caring for people who need it, Paul was in our corner. He had our back, and he had the back of thousands across this state when it came to taking care of important issues. Yeah. And we never had to wonder, and I always enjoyed hopping on the phone with him and doing interviews and whatever, because I knew that he saw the world the way that we see it, which is we've got to do the best that we can to help other people. And at the core of Paul's heart, there was an extremely good person. And we're going to miss that, because whenever we heard his voice in the morning, we were reminded of good things. He had a lot of humor, and he'd get things going, but that was Paul.
Drake, we're short on time, only a minute left. One of the things that stands out to me is Paul was a great storyteller, and I feel like he amplified the story of those children that are being taken care of at Palmer Home.
He did. He would call it out. every once in a while, I get in situations and I've got to be mindful of how I say things, and I've got to be mindful and sensitive in so many directions. And it was so refreshing to hear Paul just say, hey, folks, you need to get behind this. You need to know that these kids need you. And, he would speak directly to their situation, their circumstances. And he would just, like he did with so many other things, he could just cut to the chase, and he could speak in a way that spoke to our heart, and he lived it. He was behind us in prayer and in support and in his time and energy, and he advocated.
We're going to continue to advocate for the great work that's happening at Palmer Home for Children, and part of the way we'll do that is by remembering our good friend, Paul Gallo. Drake, thanks so much for your time.
Great to see you, Richard. We're grateful for Paul and for all that you all do.
We'll talk to you soon. Drake Bassett, President and CEO, Palmer Home for Children, a great partner with us here at SuperTalk, Mississippi. Former Governor Phil Bryant will be with us to start the 8 o'clock hour when we come back right after the news on Gallo.